Hey, what's up, everybody? BDO 44 coming at you with another video. All right, so if y'all follow me, y'all know I've been talking about Darius Baisley for about 3 weeks. Spoke on him about 3 hours ago. Yeah, he was traded, as we knew he would be, because they weren't going to re-sign him, and there's no way you let a player that young sit on your bench and not do something with him. They weren't even giving him any playing time. It made no sense at all. They could have traded him 2 years ago for like 7 times this, by the way. But nevertheless, OKC is trading Baisley to the Phoenix Suns. I love that for Phoenix, by the way. And Saric and two and a second rounder. I believe it's Dario Saric and a second rounder. I think it's just 1 second-round pick and Dario Saric to OKC for Darius Baisley. So they get something for Baisley. Saric is a guy that they can bring up to OKC, kind of help with the older guys or just buy him out. I mean, help with the younger guys or just buy him out. And they just pocket the pick. So Baisley was not in rotation. That's the problem. If they just would have been playing him, like I always say, play these guys. Don't let them sit on the bench and do nothing, especially when they're like this and young, got their wings. He should not have gone for this cheap. But nevertheless, that's what it was. And they're going to help. He's going to help KD and just overall booster that team. He's going to be able to come in and be something out of nothing, basically. And I have 100%. I'm of the 100% certainty that he's going to come there and basically triple his value in Phoenix. It's a no-brainer. It's an excellent pickup. It's exactly what you do if you're Phoenix when you've done what they did last night. So, love it. Absolutely love it for Phoenix. And the Clippers just committed one of the biggest robberies I think I've seen in a long time, man. Seriously. They just picked up Bones Highland for 2 second-round picks. Bones Highland. I can't believe Denver just gave the Clippers Bones Highland like that. Like, literally just gave him away. Do you know that Jay Crowder just went for 5 second-round picks? Had an expiring contract for $10 million? And Bones Highland went for 2 second-round picks? Do y'all know how bad of a misevaluation of talent that actually is on both sides? Like, this is ridiculous. When I say ridiculous, I know they weren't going to re-sign Bones Highland, but you got to take a look at what the heck is going on around you before you pull the trigger on a deal. Denver, you have to look around the field. Yesterday's price is not today's price. That's what Fadjo always tell us. Second-round picks don't mean the same thing they used to mean when you see Jay Crowder get you 5 of them. 5. And you just gave away a second-year player who had Rookie of the Year upside last year, Rookie of the Year type of energy around him, for 2 second-round picks that could go for cash considerations each. This is absolutely the opposite thing you do when you have that type of piece. The opposite. The opposite. This is the worst way to handle a piece like that. But then again, we know Denver did that with Bol too. They did it with Bol too. So they don't always do things correctly. But this was ridiculous. This was beyond ridiculous. They basically handed the Clippers a player of their future. A player for their future. They here you go. Here you go. Here's the 16th pick in the draft last year for 2 second-round picks. And it's not like he busted. It's the opposite of the bust. He's a very good player that they should probably be paying. You know, if I were a Denver Nuggets fan, I'd be throwing stuff. I would be so angry right now. Y'all don't even know how I would be livid. And I get it. I know Bones has been streaky. You know what I mean? I equate him kind of to like a, sort of like the same type of player as like a Quickly. So you got to wait on him. You know what I mean? It's not like he's going to be an all-star right away. But you just threw him into the mix with the Clippers. They were already good enough to do enough. Now they picked up a real player. You know, Coffee's over there still. And they got all them forwards. Now you can get rid of a couple of those. If I'm the Clippers... Oh my God. They could retrade Bones Highland for a first-round pick next year. Like, this is about the stupidest thing I've seen. This is dumb. This is equivalent to the Jay Crowder for 5 second-round picks. This is just bad. I don't know what's going on in the NBA, but there are teams that are not evaluating talent very well, and I'm glad my Lakers aren't one of them. Because everything I want us to do, Rob Pelinka, you're on my good side. Because them people over there in Denver, I don't know what just happened. And those people in Milwaukee, same thing. They are not looking around. Just look around. That's all I would say to these GMs. I know you're picking up phones and doing all that, but look around. Because if you do what they just did, whew, and you see what the Brooklyn Nets just did in regards to their second round picks, there better be some incredible protections. But even if they're not, it's second round picks. I mean, what kind of protections can they really be in the second round? But nevertheless, when you consider how much they can be when you pair them together, and you look at what went down with them two different transactions, you understand that these people aren't paying attention to each other, and the Brooklyn Nets look like the smarter team between amongst a bunch of teams that ain't doing things correctly. And boy, have things changed very quickly in that regard. Who knew? The Brooklyn Nets and the Los Angeles Lakers seem to be winning the trade deadline as far as I can tell. They really are. Even though I don't like the return for Kevin Durant, ultimately I do know it's a good return. I think they could have got better returns in both of those deals, but I do think those are good returns. So I got to amend that just in case somebody fact checks all the stuff I've said and hear me say some things that don't align with that. But I think overall, when you look at what Brooklyn did and you consider they're still trying to retrade some of those pieces that they got, I was mad at them for bringing Jay Crowder back. That was the biggest problem I had with the KD trade. Flipping that for 5 second-round picks, bingo. It's exactly how I felt about us and bringing in D'Angelo Russell versus Mike Conley. If you bring me back Mike Conley, it's not a very great trade at all. You turn that into D'Lo's expiring $31 million contract, boom, now we got an entirely different situation. So that's how I look at that. Now the KD trade looks much better when you get Crowder and turn him into something that you can actually use, which is what they did. So I think Brooklyn is moving right, man. I think it feels like people listening to me. I've been calling people out. I've been telling them what to do, and now I'm seeing at the trade deadline the things that I've been suggesting, they're happening. So I don't know if I have any influence or just shows me I'm barking up the right tree. But if they have been listening to me, they're doing what it is I've been telling them to do. It's multiple teams. So I'm very pleased with all of y'all, man. And some of y'all need to be listening. Bucks, you're doing it wrong. Stop trading for these dudes that have no value. What the Bucks are in the midst of doing is bringing people to them that they can't retrade for nothing. Jay Crowder can't do nothing for you, man. And as I said, they did the same thing with Serge Ibaka last time, and they had to unload him today. What did they get for Serge Ibaka? Let me see, man. And I don't know how Serge Ibaka's continue to find jobs around the league. I ain't gonna lie to y'all, man. To Indy, I don't know. I didn't think I wrote down what exactly that was involved in. I think the information hadn't came out. But he ended up in Indy. George Hill ended up in Indy. They dumped those guys off on Indy. But these are guys that the Milwaukee Bucks have often picked up and thought they can do something for them, and they can't. And you look at that Milwaukee Bucks team, what we're going to see today, the back of that bench is full of those players that you can't retrade. A bunch of guys that have names because they were role players about 6 years ago or 5 years ago, what have you. But now you're sitting on these players, and it's like they're playing the wrong ones. You got Marshawn Beauchamp that didn't even get any minutes in the last game. I'm like, nah, y'all doing it wrong. Y'all got to move the players like Grayson Allen and Beauchamp into the main fold, and Jordan Nwora, guys who have been there a couple years, don't have no upside. You guys ship them out. Seriously, the Serge Ibaka's, ship them out. This Jay Crowder acquisition, if I was one of y'all fans, I would be like, ship him out immediately. Because it's just a misevaluation of talent taking place in Milwaukee, and I'm recognizing it. And they're going to slap this stuff next to Giannis, and they're going to pretend like the team is really, really good. But what I know is that most of those guys can't do nothing for them. And then when they try to retrade him, it's going to get nothing for him. So this is what I'm saying. Go for the upside, man. Especially when you see Bones Highland go for 2 second-round picks. That should have been you, Milwaukee. You should have paired him up next to Marshawn Beauchamp. And that's the type of thing that will keep Giannis feeling good about your team. Not bringing him Jay Crowder. I promise you. It's the opposite of what a lot of GMs think. Oh, let's bring him an old guy that's savvy. He played for the Celtics back in 15, right? Yeah, bring him to us now. No, don't do that. Bring me Bones Highland. That's what you need to do. Bring me Devon Reed and 3 second-round picks so I can turn Devon Reed into something that you've now heard of after you put him on my team. Then I flip him for 3-4 times what he's worth. This is all Milwaukee needs to be doing. Because your core is going to be straight. But if you keep having these weak guys on the back of your bench, as soon as Giannis goes down with an injury or Middleton goes down with an injury, you start tumbling in the standings. Why? Because half of your bench is worthless. Because y'all keep misevaluating talent and overpaying for the Jay Crowders and the George Hills and all these different guys they keep bringing in that are from yesteryear. Stop it, Milwaukee, before you lose Giannis. Because if I'm him, I'm looking around at what these other teams are doing, And I'm seeing that some of them are bringing young, talented wings that can fly all over the place, and others are doing the stuff you're doing and look like the Lakers last year. So that's what I see. Milwaukee's doing what the Lakers did last year, bringing them a bunch of washed-up dudes who can't do it no more. Straight up. So that's what it is, man. We tell the truth on this channel. We ain't playing no more. Enough of that. It's Minnesota doing the same thing. Stop it. Bringing together old Jazz. You know why they blew that Jazz team up? Because it was outdated. That's exactly why the team got blew up, and you guys are reassembling it. It's just still so stupid to me and misguided. So as these teams fail, you'll see what I'm talking about. It's going to be a lot of teams that fail, and these little experiments that they're trying to do is just not going to work for them. But I do not feel that way about Dallas and Phoenix. I don't. I think Dallas and Phoenix are in good places as it pertains to Dallas. I think, even though that's not built to win this year, in my opinion, they're definitely going to have a good energy about them. I think Luka's going to enjoy playing with Kyrie, and I think the fans are going to enjoy watching him play. So that's going to be fun. That's going to be good, fun, loving basketball for about 6 months, and then Kyrie's probably going to bounce. But it's going to be fun. I think they're going to have a really, really memorable 6 months with Kyrie Irving. I don't think it's going to go bad at all. In fact, I think it's probably going to be a very good tenure for him. But I don't think Mark's going to re-sign him at the price he's going to want. So he'll probably end up somewhere else. But yeah, that's going to be a fun team. The Phoenix Suns are going to be so top-heavy to where when they do win games, they may win by 50. But when they do lose games, they may lose by 50. I'm telling you, because it's all about health, and the players that they're leaning on are absolutely not healthy. And I think they're used to, and it's a new management. So, but I think they're used to the stability and durability of having a player in their roster every day, and that would be Mikal Bridges. You had a starting small forward that never missed a game for you for like three years. That is something you can easily take for granted. I know the Lakers did when we had AC Green. It makes your team so much more stable no matter what's going on, especially when you got players like Booker and Chris Paul that are constantly in and out of the lineup. You got one of the best defenders that doesn't get tired and never misses game. That's who you just traded to the Brooklyn Nets, along with a bunch of other stuff to get back Kevin Durant, somebody who's not currently healthy. And as we've said, Devin Booker, who's not currently healthy, Chris Paul, not currently healthy. It's bad if you don't get Chris Paul out of there. If I said all day long, this is probably the third time I've said that. But if they don't move Chris Paul or DeAndre Ayton, or preferably both if you're me, I'm moving them both. And I'm turning, for what all these people are worth based on stuff, second round picks flying around, I'm turning Ayton into a bunch of stuff that can make KD's tenure here much better. Just like the Lakers are trying to do in regards to getting Russell out of here and turning him into 3 or 4 players. I don't know how the hell we did it, but we did it with the first round pick. That's exactly what Phoenix needs to do. Whatever second round picks they have, whatever equity they can find. And the sick thing about it is, although they needed this to probably make KD happen, just to match the salaries, of course, but I think they would much rather have the flexibility of those 5 picks if they could have got Crowder out of there in a separate deal. And then you look at what picks go for. You could have traded 2 of them for Bones Highland and then got triple the equity out of that. So it's just like you hate seeing what Denver just did. That's the bottom line. You hate seeing what Denver just did because everybody's moving in good faith, and then Denver does something like this. It's like picks are not on sale, Denver. What the hell are you doing? Anyway, it just is what it is, man. So, yeah, I got to stop talking to you guys and check to see if the deadline is going to be giving us some information, because we are now 50 minutes away from the deadline. And it's been everything you'd want it to be, and actually a little bit more, even though the last couple deals haven't been big. Some of the rumors that I'm reading about are big. So keep your eyes open. I think it's a chance something happens. Key name. Is there a key name that I think could actually really, really move the needle? I'm thinking about PJ Washington, because I know he's expiring. I don't know that Michael has his money. And that's a player that should be highly coveted at this point. Also, some guys in Atlanta, I'd expect for them to do something with that forward position right now. Okongwu's ready to step forward, and they have to do something with Collins. Johnson's in place as well, and of course, the other center that they got too. The other center, Capella. So, yeah, I expect for them to move. And didn't they pick up? No, they didn't pick up nobody. They did not. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out their roster, and I just think it makes a lot of sense for them to try to move on from somebody in that forward rotation. And I look at a guy like Okongwu and I say, for some of these young second-year players that nobody can seem to get because they're hard to receive, you could take a player like Okongwu and trade him for one of those guys because he is one of those guys. So that's what I think teams should be considering as well. That's what I would have did if I was Bones Highlands in their situation too. It's like, I'm not trading him for no 2 second-round picks. Hell no. Give me Josh Christopher. Give me somebody who's of his ilk at a different position so it can fit my situation. So I think that's what Atlanta may want to consider doing with Okongwu if for some reason they can't move Capella and can't move Collins, because at the end of the day, he's still a high-level talent at a lesser rate. So you don't want to move on from the future, but if he doesn't have a path, you know what I mean, then you probably should get something for him before he does skedaddle on you. And I don't know what his contract is. He might have another year, rookie, I don't know. But I know he's ready to step forward, and I know they still got a bunch of forwards in his way. So that's something that needs to not be the case. So, yeah, that's what I've said. Again, Plumlee, same thing in Charlotte. I just feel like Mark Williams should probably take some big minutes, but maybe they ain't ready to do that yet. Maybe not. I don't know. But P.J. Washington could also step forward, take that money that Plumlee would be leaving behind. And I just don't see a future with Plumlee in Charlotte, man. He's not a shooting center, and he's not younger. So it's just one of those situations where the fact that he's a high-level guy on a not-so-great contract, I would be shopping that, see if somebody would just be willing to take it from me. Even if it cost me a couple second-round picks to get rid of it, I'm going to move him addition by subtraction, because they're not good enough team to be having win-now-like pieces. He's a win-now piece, basically. If he ain't helping a playoff team, for which they are not, then he's just eating money on your cap and messing with your timeline. So that's one player I want to see them move, along with Gordon Hayward, which is less likely because he's not as productive. So that's kind of how I'm looking at that. Little stuff that could happen, but you know, the team that everybody's looking at is the Toronto Raptors. Fred VanVleet, what are they going to do with their expiring contracts? They don't have everybody's money. So the likelihood that something gets done right now, I think, is pretty high with Toronto. Maybe not some of the bigger names that we expect to see move, but at least one or two of them. OG, Fred, they got guys. They got guys that everybody wants. So there should be nothing, absolutely nothing, keeping them from picking a deal out of the fleet of deals that they're getting for Fred VanVleet and all those people that they got, and picking one and doing something. Because they're in a weird timeline space, and if not, they're going to let some very, very, very talented people walk. And that is not acceptable. Not acceptable. So, yeah, that's what I'm seeing, man. Enough speculation. Let's go see if the news has given us something. And I got some food to cook as well. So that's where I'm at. BDL 44. Thank you all for watching.